Ah, you got a pen?
Yep.
My name's Jafuli. I am so coolie. I stretch a canvas.
Yo, welcome to my channel. My name's JD and I'm an artist from Bristol in the UK. As you probably guessed from the title, today's video I'm going to be showing you exactly how to make and stretch your own canvas ready for painting.
Would I be required to stretch a canvas?
And obviously, being an art channel, it wouldn't be the same without some art, so I'm also going to be painting these canvases as well. I'm going to be showing you all the tricks and tips that I've learned over the years on how to get a nice fold on the corners and just exactly how to stretch a good canvas, basically.
I stretch a canvas.
I will also show you the tools that you will need. So yeah, there's not much else to say. Let's just crack on. So the first step is to find the right side of the canvas. You want the back of the canvas facing you, and you want to take your piece of wood. For this I've got a 19mm bit of plywood. It was just a bit of scrap wood. If you have any rough edges on this wood, you might want to take a little piece of sandpaper and just sand them down, make them smooth. Make sure you get rid of any excess dirt. And then you place the wood in the center of the canvas. And you just fold the edges over just to make sure you've got enough to wrap around, make sure it's even, make sure the wood is directly in the middle. For this one, it's actually a little bit short on canvas material. I'd recommend leaving yourself a little bit more, but I'm just using some scrap here to demonstrate. Now you want to load up the staple gun. I'm using 8mm staples, which is obviously less than the thickness of the wood, but they're also long enough to go deep into the wood enough to hold the canvas. So again, you fold over the first corner and just check with the other side and make sure you still have enough overlap for the opposite side, and fix in place with a staple in the middle. And then rotate the canvas so that you're doing it the same way as you were before. It just makes life easier. Pull on the canvas, push the wood down, pull the canvas material up, get it as tight as you can, and then in the middle place another staple just to fix in place. Just check that you haven't got any creases and it's pretty straight on the other side. On the other side, you just want to fold the edges to make sure you've got a nice smooth edge to work from. Pull the canvas up, not too tight, but just a good enough tightness to fix in place. You don't want to pull it too tight because of the other sides. You don't want them to stretch too much, the ones that you've already fixed. And then you pull the other side adjacent, again pushing down on the wood, pulling up on the canvas, and fix a staple in the middle just to keep the canvas in place. Check the other side, make sure there's no creases. This is how I prep for the corners. And for this bit, I'm going to be pulling up on the canvas, but I'm also going to be pulling out of the canvas. So up and out. This way you're getting a nice tight edge along from the staple that you've put in the middle, and you're also tightening it top and bottom. You match the same with the other side. So you pull it up and you pull it left or away from the canvas. And you fix in place with a staple. And you flip it round and basically repeat the process on the other side, remembering to pull the canvas outwards and upwards. Sometimes you might find one side a little bit more difficult than the other. That's absolutely fine. Once you have done this, the next step is to just fix in between those staples, giving it a nice bit of pull on the canvas material to get a nice smooth edge. Again, on the other side. I always flip it round rather than trying to do it on the opposite side, if you know what I mean. It just makes life a lot easier. So the next step is to clear some of this excess ready for folding over in the corners. This just helps keep it a bit neater, makes it a bit easier to do this next process. So what we do now is fold these corners over, folding it into the side that only has one staple, making sure it's nice and tight, which will then form this little triangle on top. Now if you pinch that triangle and you take your scissors, very carefully you take that corner off. And this will leave you a nice starting point for your folding of your corners. And you just repeat this process on every corner, folding into the side that only has one staple in the middle. And making sure it's nice and tight, pinching that little triangle and just cutting it off. Now please be careful if you have very sharp scissors, which you will need to be cutting this canvas material. You will have to be very careful. Now this is the hard bit, the folding of the corners. So you want to push in to the side that only has one staple, and then you want to fold that over in half until you have a point where it sort of aligns with the edge of the canvas. And once you have this, you staple this in place. I would recommend putting 2 staples in the corner just to make sure it's strong enough to reinforce that double layer. And you just match it on the other corners. So you fold in to the edge with the staples, you fold that bit in half, making sure that it's nice and tight on that corner. If it slightly overlaps on the edge, as you can see here, all you have to do is just fold it in a little bit more, and that will bring that edge in. And basically just adjust a little bit more, a little bit less, until that edge is pretty much flush with the corner of the canvas. And then you want to pull up and out as you did on the other sides and fix in place with a staple. And hopefully your staple gun will not jam like mine did. Again, using 2 staples in that corner just to reinforce the double layer of canvas, and then repeating the process again on the other side. So you push it in, you make sure it's nice and tight, you get that fold, and you basically pull it up and out and fix in place with 2 staples. And repeat this process on the other side. So sometimes you may make a fold that is too much, so you just unfold it a bit and just keep playing about with it until you find it's at the edge of the canvas how you desire. Pulling up and out of the canvas and fix in place with 2 staples, and then just pulling into those gaps and fixing more staples in place just to keep it nice and tight. Trim off any excess that you may need. Then you get left with these corners that sort of stick up a little bit. So what I do with those is I just push them over, fold them, and then take the scissors and just cut them off, just to keep it a bit more flush inside the canvas. And just repeat this process on every corner. And as you can see, it doesn't stick out as much, it looks a lot more flush and just a lot more neat and tidy. Now there's one last step that I like to do just to neaten everything up that little bit more, and I just put some duct tape all along the back just to make sure that the canvas doesn't get caught or anything whilst I'm painting it and it's on my table. And there we have your finished canvas. The next step is to prime this canvas ready for painting. For this, I'm using a white gesso primer. I'm layering it on quite thick because I'm not really fussed about this canvas having a smooth finish, but if you wanted to, you'd let it dry between layers, take a fine bit of sandpaper and just give it a bit of a sand, and then another layer of primer, which you can also water down to. The canvas is ready to paint. Let's do this. So right now I'm just creating a bit of a wash. I'm going to be using this for the background of my canvas paintings. Don't know where I'm going to go with this, but let's just see where this goes, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the video. So let's just kick back, relax and enjoy.
Gold and gold.
And we are finished. Yeah, I'm super stoked with how these little bad boys came out. And I just love how they stand up as well, just because of the thickness of the wood. They'll just be ideal for like a mantelpiece or just on the side in your home. So yeah, hopefully you learnt a thing or two. Maybe you want to go out there right now and stretch your own canvas.
I stretch a canvas.
And hopefully you also enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, it'd be sick if you give it that thumbs up and give it a like. And it'd be wicked if you could subscribe too. And if you tick that little bell notification icon, you'll be the first one to know when the next video drops. So until then, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.